So what does anxiety look like in a child? I've found that a list of symptoms is not always helpful for really understanding a medical condition or a mental health condition. So I'm going to share what my experience with anxiety was when I was a kid, and hopefully that'll be helpful to you if you're wondering. So when I was 10 years old, my parents moved to Jamaica from Los Angeles area, and they were moving there to serve as missionaries. So it was a totally new life for all of us. We definitely experienced culture shock. And of course, that was incredibly stressful for all of us. As the oldest of 4 children, and the only one who was, 10, everyone else was much younger, I was kind of left to figure things out for myself. So after a year or two of living there in Jamaica, suddenly I started experiencing some interesting symptoms, and we weren't really sure what they were. But I was a kid who could always just hit the pillow and go straight to sleep. I really didn't struggle to get to sleep most of the time. And suddenly, every single night when I was trying to go to sleep, I would experience digestive upset. My tummy would start feeling gross and nauseous, and I would go to the bathroom every couple of minutes and had really loose stools. Not trying to gross you out here, just want you to know that that can be a part of the anxiety experience. And because we had experienced so much upheaval in the first couple of years in Jamaica, we dealt with stomach bug on a regular basis. That's kind of what we thought it was at first, but the weird thing was the next morning I was fine. And typically with a stomach bug or a norovirus, you're sick a good 24 hours. The next day you're still feeling sick. And that was not what this looked like. The other thing that was strange was around the same time I started experiencing more headaches. I'd always had headaches, but now they were happening really often on a regular basis, just about daily. And we didn't really put those two things together. They were kind of separate in our minds, and my parents didn't really know what to do with it. And so I'm sharing that with you because those are actually really typical symptoms of anxiety, especially in kids. And kids can't always articulate why they're feeling that way. But when I look back at what was going on in my life at that time, in the journals I have from that time, I realized that I had just started high school, which starts in 7th grade there in the Caribbean. And so my academic requirements were moving upward. I was still trying to deal with new cultures, and I just didn't have the tools to understand how to handle stress and anxiety. And my parents couldn't help me. We didn't talk about anxiety back then. I mean, this was the 90s and the early 90s, and it was still kind of new here in the States, but in Jamaica, it was like a non-issue. Nobody talked about it. So that's what childhood anxiety looked like for me. And in my next video, I'll share a little bit more about my experience. Thanks for listening.